Yo guys, I've got a spark which I'm going to use to ignite the fire for a brand new Skylanders video here in this fine Wednesday evening, where we're going to be taking a look back to one of my much older top 10 videos. This was originally uploaded on May 19th, 2019, so in a couple of months this will have literally been a 4-year-old video, which obviously back then I don't quite have the viewership numbers I get now, and naturally this top 10 kind of got lost in the shuffle and never really garnered for recognition it deserved, because this is definitely one of my more creative top 10s, which is why we're going to be looking back at it today, so hopefully it can garner a brand new audience. But that being said, this is obviously the top 10 Skylanders armours, a list which has taken into account the armour design of a Skylander and the armour design alone. So everything else about the Skylander doesn't really contribute towards the top 10, including their gameplay first and foremost. So if a Skylander's gameplay is rather crap, we're not concerned about that in this video. Instead, we're looking solely at the armour designs. So those of you who don't know already, an armour is defined as a massive chunk of metal that protects one's body in battle, or at least something along those veins. The correct definition is up there because that's how editing works. Regardless, I'm really looking forward to flashing back and having that nice kick of nostalgia as we can see about my old filmmaking style when I used to really go off script, even more so than I'm doing now. So without further ado, let's roll the intro and then get straight into the top 10 at hand. Starting us off at number 10 is the gold armour, that just so happens to be wrapped around Riptide right here. Now what I love about the armour, first and foremost, is that it's gold, or at least in terms of its colouring it is, and of course if you have golden coloured armour it automatically makes it a million times better. And the second thing I like about it is the design. First of all, I like the different branches, it has a very aquatic feel to it, and to add that aquatic feel is the hidden details within the leg joints, including the scaling as such. So above all, this armour gives off that nice aquatic vibe, as well as having that awesome gold plated trim to go alongside it. So the detail and the colouring alone is enough to get the armour number 10 on the list right here. Coming in at number 9 is Gorilla Driller's armour, or at least this bronze-based armour that wraps around him, mind you. So basically what I love about this armour is the texturing. When you rub your fingers along it is very well textured, as you can tell. And I also love the hidden details, the nice little dings and scratches show that the armour's been through a lot on any battle, and any armour even that has the scars of battle on it shows that it's performed its job quite well and protected the person within it. Within battle, you could say. But really this armour just looks cool because it's got a flipping drill as part of it, and that whole drill based aesthetic isn't only part of a drill, but it continues into the shoulder plates, into the head guard, and better yet into the gauntlets, which makes this armour not only good for defense but for offense as well. And sometimes the best defense can be a good offense. So there you go, this armour gives you the best of both worlds, which is why it's got number 9 on the list right here. As for number 8, we have this armour right here, bearing in mind that the only parts of the armour are these blades right here, for helmet right here with the horns, for body, over body armour, and of course for sword. Now beforehand we had a armour that was both offensive and defensive. Well, we have the same thing here, but what makes this one even more awesome is that the offense is literally a mother flipping sword. How can you get any better than that sword performing as armour for you? It's pretty awesome looking, you've got to admit, and then not to mention the colour ends of the contrast between the blues and the silvers is very nice to look at. It's a very shiny armour and awfully traditional looking as well. So really I have no flaws with this armour, it just doesn't look as cool as the armours popping up, such as this one at number 7. So I really like the gold and the blues right here, and not to mention the helmet having a mohawk-like design is also pretty cool. And what I like is the fact that it has several holes drilled in for the eyes and the mouths and such. It's just a really awesome skeletal based armour right here for a skeleton, if there was such a skeleton within it, that is. But I tell you what's even more awesome than this design.
this design. That's right, our true number 7 is this pharaoh-like armour. So I've already called it pharaoh-like, and that's what I really like about armour. The design reflects Egyptian culture with its pharaoh-like sculpts and mostly colouring. The gold and the black contrast each other much nicely than for previously looks at armour. It truly is an upgrade from that armour, I would say, and it still has the same kind of aesthetics with the drilled in holes for wherever our eyes would go as such. And the fact that it is a ginormous piece of armour would of course imply that a giant being would be able to possess it. So, with a giant piece of armour like this, how could you possibly go wrong? And not to mention, if someone big was to fit inside it, they'd be even more of a brute with this armour on than they would be already with their size and everything. And then I also really like the belt buckles as well. It's a great addition to the armour. So above all, it really looks like it can take a few dings, but the armour itself doesn't really have much proof of that because it is lacking small details like scratches and stuff from battle scarring. So really that's the only reason why this armour cannot get any lower on the list right here. But above all, it just looks so insanely cool. As for number 6, we have this chunk of armour. Now this armour feels very, very complete with the head guard and the whole body armour. And so above all, once again, it has some really awesome detailed belt buckles as well. The gold, the blue and the silver even really contrast each other quite nicely, even more so than the dark blues did, I feel. And what I really love about this armour is the nice little ear pieces on the side right there. They just look incredibly cool and they really fit the whole aesthetic of the rest of the armour as well. So above all, this armour looks damn cool and is definitely going to be effective in battle. I would believe so anyway, because of the fact that it is covering the full body of whoever would be within it. Not to mention it's appropriate based on gender because of the breastplates and everything. Although, one last nice thing to mention is, of course, the details on the back right here. It shows how the metal was, it shows that the metal even was malleable and that they was able to shape it to form all the different components and add those components together and everything through moulding and forging and all of that fun blacksmith stuff. I just lost words there, my apologies. But regardless, moving on to the next armour, we have this golden armour at number 5. Now I know armour defines as metal, so anything that isn't metal is not armour, but this is made out of pure gold, and gold is an element of the periodic table, meaning that it is a metal at room temperature. So there you go, we have a metal armour right here. Now don't confuse parts of the armour with parts of the more fleshling based organic material, I should call it. Those elements would include, of course, the shoulders, the arms, and these kneecaps right here, and of course the face and the hair at the back, but everything else is armour. So these sleeves, armour. This headpiece right here, armour. Even for dress back here, it's armour, and above all, it's very well detailed, and it's made out of pure gold, which, just like the golden armour at number 10, of course, automatically makes it 4 million times more awesome, even though I'm pretty sure that's more than I said before, but screw consistency, right? But what I really love about this armour is the design of the headgear. It's very unique and looks very, very cool, as if it's tailored towards a very specific design, sure, but I bet you it would look awesome on anyone, regardless. So, this armour, above all, I just really like the look of its detailing, and even the composition in its design work, and of course the fact that it's made out of pure gold. As for number 4, we have ourselves this armour right here. Now, what really makes this armour for me is the head guard, because it reflects samurai culture from much earlier in Japan's history, and of course I love that part of Japan's history, so I'm a real sucker for samurai based designs, and this armor here just nails that samurai aesthetic with an almost skirt like design running through the bottom, which would be very fitting of anyone, especially since it would definitely help guard the whole torso area, which of course any wise swordsman would aim to strike at first, because the moment you get the legs, it's the moment your opponent is weakened. But it's really the headgear that makes it for me. Not only is it traditional samurai based with all the different blobs at the top right here, you should say, and traditional scope with the whole like cone-based shape, but for whole head trimmings at the front right there. But I also really like the fire aesthetic at the top right there. Sure, whilst this armor is very clearly tailored towards a more fire-based Skylanders, it could still fit more or less anyone who could get into it, even with that fire elemental symbol at the top right there. So above all, this armor just looks cool, and it's a great representation of one of my favourite cultures. So for number 3 right here, I would put this armor, but the problem is that this armor is way cooler. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Who are you and what have you done with Ignite? He would never put Igniter so low on the list. Well, first of all, this is not Igniter I'm judging, it's the armor. And second of all, this armor is flipping awesome regardless, and that's why it's got number 3. It's just not as good as 2 and 1, obviously. Now, what's so glorious about this armor is just the fact that it's traditional, sure, but it looks so damn awesome at the same time. So first of all, it's full body armor, so out of all of the armors we've seen so far, this would by far be the most effective in terms of actually like defending the occupant of the armor. But better yet, this armor upgrades into this, which is of course way better, because not only do you have a full body armor like this with the whole awesome torso pads and the rest of the armor, and then not to mention it has still got some offensive options with the shoulder pads right there to give the wearer more ease and flexibility as well as extra defense. But the best part about it is the turtle shell thing at the back, because you know, this armor at the front right here clearly isn't enough, so that guarantees that you will be safe while wearing it. Not to mention it has some very awesome and very well detailed increments inside of the turtle shell based armor, which is just so much fun to look at in terms of its mesmerizing patterns and everything. So I can imagine the person inside of this armor being very safe, not to mention the very metal it uses and the way the armor seems to be constructed. It feels enchanting, you could say. Dun dun dun. Now, if this armor right here combines so many things that was cool about all of the previous designs. So you have a tail piece, which of course defends the tail of any character who would dare wear this. And that of course leads to the back right here with an awesome glowing power source thing. It feels like this is technology that was of course constructed by someone, but of course it is made out of metal, so it counts as armor. And then there's also for wings, and what's better about this wing design than the previous one is the fact that it's not just blades on the edge of the wings, it actually covers the whole wing, which of course a dragon needs to defend, because the moment you strike the wings or the tail, then, you know.
It's the wings and the tails you really want. If it can't fly, it can't get away. A downed dragon is a dead dragon.
So, as you could tell, this armor is very well tailored towards dragons, with the fact that it stops them from getting grounded, as Gobbus said right there. But what's even better about this design is that it has a mohawk design, which of course I pointed out of this armor that I really like. So carrying that over is great, not to mention just like that previously shown armor, it has a great contrast between the blues and the golds. But really, with it being more technology based, with it being metal combined with technology, it feels like it was constructed by some wise beings several eons ago. So having an armor that incorporates technology and metal together is fantastic. And the fact that this was constructed with such care and genius is also something to admire, hence why it's as high as number 2 on the list right here. But without a doubt, my favourite armour in the whole of the Skylanders franchise is this one before you. So what's great about this one is that it's highly decked out, it's very bulky, especially in terms of the shoulder guards. So out of all of the armours on this list, including this very armour right here, this one would easily keep you the most defended, because there's no way you're getting past that. And better yet, with the small details on the armour, such as the scratches all along the edge right here, it also shows that people have, of course, tried that, given the armor battle damage, which, as we know already, I really like about armors, because it shows that they fulfilled their purpose. And, of course, there's nothing more important to armor than fulfilling that purpose. But, yeah, it's really the battle details that make it for me with this armor, and above all, it's just incredibly well designed to fulfill its purpose. And it looks so awesome whilst doing it, because those shoulder pads not only look, well, They look the part, most certainly aesthetically, and so does the rest of the armour. I especially love the eye gear right here and how it could easily flip in front of the face or whatnot. Feels battle mask-like, which is great. But above all, with their bulkiness, you know, it definitely looks like whoever would wear this would be someone to be reckoned with, for sure. And then the back is even better because it culminates all together with this armour's whole design to create something very memorable in terms of the back. So if you was to see this enemy walking away from you, you would be glad that you wouldn't need to face them, is what I'm saying right here. So yes, it's very well constructed, and the metal is very well forged, you could say, and the armour as a whole is just very well designed to bring together the aesthetics and fulfill a purpose. So that is why this armour right here is number 1 on my list. I cannot, in good conscience, end off this video without first thanking all of my incredible channel members whose continued support help make these videos possible. Without them, these videos would be near impossible to make, so from the bottom of my heart, I truly appreciate every last one of them. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, there are plenty of options on screen now to explore, and please consider subscribing to keep up to date with all my content. On that note, this video is coming to an end, so thank you so much as always for watching. Until the next video arises, peace!